weren't streaming at all.
Yeah.
It's
I was
showing.
looking on my
It's showing the
Facebook to see if it's streaming or not.
now. Let's see, connected. Guess what? Facebook's connected now. There's that. So let's go live. YouTube. Huh. Don't know what YouTube is doing. Let me do this. All right. So it shows Facebook.
Live on Facebook.
Okay. So there we are. All right, guys. Welcome. Just give me one more second here. It shows Facebook. There you go. I hear it comes through.
Yeah, it's me on we're just a little behind on Facebook.
Let's do this. Go live. Not for kids. Save. Look at there. Huh. We're live on YouTube now. Welcome.
We're rocking and rolling, son. Cooking with grease is my grandmother's. Crisco.
Man, this is crazy. I do not know what happened. I apologize. I won't play all the stuff all over. I ought to, though. Look.
Re-intro ourselves.
Yeah, the intro and the what is it? The disclaimer. Just know.
Whatever we say, we're not in control of.
Yeah, we're not in control of. Yes, that's exactly right. So yeah. Welcome, Alan, and welcome everybody else. We're finally back doing what we're supposed to be doing here because Facebook and YouTube and all that good stuff was not very friendly to me here for whatever reason. It wouldn't click on the way that I needed it to, and so and at the moment it's just me and Alan. So it's Resolute and Alan Latham tonight.
That's it.
That's it.
We'll rock right along.
That's it. You have housing, don't you? You have rental properties and stuff like that, right?
I do.
So do you use any of the subsidies? Or you don't have to say it, I guess. Maybe that's probably personal.
Well, honestly, the city of Maryville has vouchers that they use through certain individuals, that qualify. And they've got to meet certain criteria. Of course, if you accept vouchers, you have to meet a whole list of criteria in your rental home for them to accept that.
Inspections.
Inspections and certain electrical, so I guess my rental properties, anything that we buy, the first thing we do is plumbing and electrical and then roofing. So those are the three main things that you usually have issues with if you buy a rental property. First of all, me working in water quality, when I did, nobody's water line breaks in the daytime very much. Most of the time it's the middle of the night. Their toilet don't stop up in the middle of the day. It's usually in the middle of the night, when everybody's home. So as a landlord, I don't want to be getting that phone call at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey, my toilet's backing up in the tub, or we've got a busted water line, or anything of that nature. So yeah, we had accepted vouchers at one time, and the renters we had, they had issues, not with money per se, but with personal issues. And I'm sure we qualified if we wanted to use vouchers, but we haven't used them in probably 3 years. And we only did it one time, and that was a house that we had in the city of Maryville.
So it's weird. My ex-wife used to work for Maryville Housing Authority, and some of the stuff that they had to do, it was weird on the privacy that they held for the personal information on the individual applying for it, but all the things that were required from the owner to make sure that the tenant was in a space that was up to code, I guess, you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
That kind of thing. And so when we would talk about some of the things that were, happening behind the scenes, because their favorite motto was, if you play with someone else's money, then you have to play by their rules. And I
Right.
just, for the life of me, I couldn't get my head over it, But then the thing that really started to make me mad is when we had this like a miniature illegal invasion that hit Maryville or Blount County. It just before you knew it, you were outnumbered at Walmart, this kind of thing. And then you're looking at some of the housing authorities and housing as itself. They were they were bumped up. I wouldn't say that they were. It was done by design. They were bumped up to the front of some of these lists
Right.
for housing and all that, and they weren't allowed to ask questions like if they were legal. And so that made me madder than hell too. So when I did this research, and I guess I ought to pull it up since we started or since I started talking about it. I
Right.
did this research with oh crap, where is it at? Um, with AI. I know people don't always like AI, but AI is a great tool for research because
Well,
if you're looking for something specific and you use AI, it gives you the links. If
right.
you get it wrong, I would say you can argue with it to some degree.
Sure.
And if it's wrong, it'll correct itself, which I thought was neat. And
I think it's a good starting point.
it's a great starting point, yeah.
Right.
And let
But I
me
mean, like you said, you can go more in depth with different links and different areas of research to get more, obviously. But like I said, it's a great place to start.
let's see.
So since we're talking about vouchers and things like that, I had a gentleman that had been renting from me. He'd rented from me for about 3 years, and he'd had some health complications. And of course, he had the health complications 30 years ago when he started renting. And we tried to get him um, to where he could get some financial assistance through housing. And they're telling him that there's a 3 year wait.
Yes. Yep.
So I don't know if there's certain criteria somebody has to meet to be moved up, or if there's people using it that you know have been using it for a while. Of course,
So
that
it's interesting you say that because I asked all those questions, generational, diversity between race and all that, all those
right,
questions. And so, and it did well. And it brought up the audits from Maryville Housing Authority. It brought up, I guess, through ETHRA, some of these other vouchers. I did it as a county. I don't know if it included the city of Alcoa or the city of Maryville. I want to assume it did. I could be wrong. I didn't ask it that, you know what I'm saying? So,
right,
but anyway, it says the data sources are compiled of Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, U.S. Census Bureau, Quick Facts, Tennessee Housing Development Agency, the Maryville Housing Authority. So this is where all this information came from, So program participation overview, SNAP, which is like food stamps, I guess. And what
right,
happened is I started asking about SNAP and housing, and once I got into the housing end of it, I forgot to ask it anymore about the SNAP. So it just shows me that there's 8,459 active recipients, local participants. It's gradually declined from the pandemic era of 11,000 in 2020, signaling a stabilization in the baseline for food assistance metrics, right?
right,
Um, then it says subsidized housing net footprints 836 active across all federal and state administration programs. This account it's approximately for 0.58% of the total county population, which I didn't think that was bad. I really thought it was going to be higher than that.
right.
So it's half, just slightly higher than a half a percent. Yo, Kim, what's up? Um, the systematic wait list deficit. It says the local infrastructure demands drastically outpace physical capacity. The combined waiting list for housing assistance regularly exceeds 2,100 men that are on there, and
Right.
frequently forcing local agencies to close application portals entirely to manage um, I guess the backlogs. And so that's the one consistent thing, even when she worked there, that there was a waiting list, and it was because there was a lack of housing in Blount County. So it makes me wonder some of these, I don't know, these what do you call them? Apartment mindiums. They look like condominiums, but they're not. But they're kind of are.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like if they accept vouchers um, for that kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean, the thing about it is, like I said, I don't know what people think. Because like I said, when we used it, um, it was some people that we knew, family,
Right.
and so they had been on vouchers living in Maryville housing there on Ironwood Circle and off of uh, McCammon Avenue, which is there in Alcoa, backside of Maryville.
Yep.
So they moved from there to our rental property. And so before we get too far on the SNAP benefits, I don't know what the criteria is or how they check. And I'm going to revert back to myself because back in 2000, 2001, I was a single parent and I was working at the city when I started at the garbage, and they didn't pay very good. So I had to use benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as I progressed through departments, obviously I would make more money and I would let something go. And I don't know that people do that all the time, if that makes sense. I don't know that
Yeah.
if they excel in their job or they start making more money, that they go back and report that. Does that make sense? I'm
Yeah.
not exactly sure how it worked because um, they would just have me fill out a piece of paper whether I still need to extend that or not. Like I said, as I progressed, started making more money through each department, I kind of let one thing go. So the last thing I had was um, assistance with daycare
Yeah.
because being a single parent, um, I had family, but as she got older and started preschool and before she went to kindergarten, I wanted her in more structured environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they had programs in different daycares that would accept that money. Of course, I paid if she went more than what they would pay for, I had to pay out of pocket, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
work 4 days a week, but every once in a while I'd have to work overtime. So if I worked a Friday and a Monday, that wouldn't be classified as their time. It would be my own time.
Right.
That would come out of my own pocket. So
So
I don't know how they go about checking that. Like I said, I got assistance with milk and peanut butter and things like that. But as I started progressing, obviously those went away for
so
me.
I never went any further about anything else except for the number because once I got caught up in the housing part, it slipped my mind. And the other thing
Right,
is this thing is my personal, like, what do they call that, opinion editorial op-ed
right.
research that it's not to make anybody feel
Sure,
any
sure.
any kind of thing at all. I'm just trying to show where the county is, where we're at. You know what I mean? What we pay out per year, which is almost $6.1 million for it all. What I will say is that it was never meant to be a permanent thing. And in this study, it shows that 25 to 50, there's
Right,
a generational thing that happens. They grew up in it. Once they graduated high school, got a low paying job, filed for housing themselves, lived with their parents until they received their own housing, whether it was a voucher out on a rental property or something that was within the limits of Maryville Housing Authority or whatever, and then they continue to
right.
stay there. I think the long term is for elderly people that are on a fixed income, which is a big part of it's like 40% of our county, I think is what it says, 33
Right.
percent widows or children, you know what I mean? And so we're
Yes,
widowers, which is, no one, I don't think anyone would have a problem with, if you fell in those lines, you know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
it's just the ones that can work, that are choosing not to work or only following the criteria that they have to in order to keep it instead of doing better for themselves and working their way out of it. Although I will say this, when she worked there, the ones that were there briefly a couple years, they just hit rough times, came in, were able to get something and then got out and moved back. They had little celebrations for people like that. You know what I mean? That,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Like a party. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was their system was designed for that. It was never designed, for long time your use. So again, I didn't do this to beat up or pick on people, but if there's fraud going on, maybe,
It needs to be
somebody should,
looked at.
yeah, somebody should look into that. Although I didn't look into fraud, but it did say that under 24 was 6%. This is the housing end. From 25 to 50 was 43%. 51 to 61 was 19%, and 62 and older was 33%. Then it shows the racial composition and county baseline. It says while the recipient pool closely mirrors the county's predominantly white baseline, minority populations utilize the system at a higher proportional rate relative to their total county population share due to tighter regional poverty margins. So white non-Hispanics are 10 or 90%, the rest is 10. And so it the Hispanic is 5.1%, which is even higher than the black community itself. You know what I'm saying? I did
Right.
this
Yes.
on purpose. The black community was on 3.1 was because I was trying to find a baseline of how many citizens or non-citizens are living on taxpayer subsidies on the federal level, because these privacy laws and these acts that were put in place, if these housing authorities are getting funding in federal grants like they are, then they have to play with the rules that the federal government passed down. Now it talks about you have to meet a criteria if you're not a non-citizen, and it claims that you're not able to receive housing. Well, I'll tell you that's not real, because again, I was married to somebody that was working there for many, many years. And when it came to the point where they weren't allowed to ask, they had to bring in translators so that they could speak to them to get their, and basically it was all based off of their income. They didn't ask for a green card or anything like that. Now, that may have changed. Now it's been
Right.
6 or 7 years since I've been affiliated with any of that. But prior to that, there's a 12-year span of things that happened in Maryville Housing Authority, where when the illegals were coming in the way that they were, those things were down on the down low based on the fact that um, I think it paid more just between you and me on a federal level. You know what I mean? And so when
Right.
you're receiving those grants, then you have to follow the guidelines of when the grants are. And if you have somebody calling them and saying they asked me if I was a legal citizen, then they send down audits, and they find out if you're doing that because it's a Privacy Act thing. Well, if
Right.
you're here illegally, you don't fall in line with those things. You know what I'm saying? So it says household structures and variables, gender dynamics. 80% of all local subsidized households are headed by women. It just goes to show you that there's a serious issue with dads in this community, I think.
Yeah.
Single parent households, 40% of total participants, including children under 18. And of those specific family units, 87.5 are led by a single parent. you know Disability allocations, 23% of all individuals utilizing subsidized housing infrastructure in the county have recognized disabilities. That's small, you know what I'm saying,
Oh,
compared
yeah.
to,
Absolutely.
so it looks like the taxpayers in Blount County, are paying for the working base people more so than they're paying for those that actually need it. So it says exact localized citizenship status data specifically cross tabulated for the Hispanics subsidized housing population in Blount County is not publicly published due to private and data reporting constraints. However, look at the underlying program requirements and federal data tracking trends to try to understand how this splits. And that goes into detail about exactly what qualifies them to receive housing, right?
Right.
It says county general fund contribution. Right here's where I got in the argument with it. It says zero Blount County, $0. Blount County does not allocate local property or sales tax revenue to directly fund the Maryville Housing Authority or Housing Voucher Program. It says the federal tax pipelines, 100% of the program's foundational capital is taxpayer funded via federal income taxes, These federal funds are collected nationally and redistributed locally through HUD grants and state programs. Maryville Housing Authority operational budget runs 6.1 million to 6.4 million annually and funded predominantly by HUD grants and supplemental by 2 million in tenant rental income. Hidden local cost absorbs. This is what we're absorbing. Public housing facilities are exempt from traditional local property taxes, slightly shifting the local burden for infrastructure, schools, and emergency services onto remaining private property owners. And pilot programs, housing authorities make minor payments in lieu of taxes to local municipalities, though these are far below standard commercial property tax assessments. So what it's trying to say is maybe Maryville Housing Authority gives the city of Maryville X amount of dollars to keep themselves exempt from that kind of thing, but it doesn't work. And then it says, while Blount County doesn't write a check from its local property tax or county sales tax revenues to fund these programs, the money is entirely taxpayer funded at the federal level. So in short, there is no magical pool of money. It's a cycle of federal tax dollars collected from its citizens, including those in Blount County, and distributed locally. And then it goes into strict verification. Undocumented immigrants and temporary visa holders are legally barred from receiving federal and state housing subsidies. But it just said that you weren't allowed to ask for that information. It
Right.
was private. So what I know is they don't ask, and if there
They
is
don't tell.
somebody, yeah, if there is somebody legal, it would be one person in the household because it says eligible recipients must be a U.S. citizen, green card holders, or legally recognized refugees or asylees. Well, they had a crap ton of um, Somalians in the Maryville Housing Authority. I say crap ton. It was probably a small percentage overall versus the whole bowl of wax, but it just seemed like there was a many of them, in there, and
Right.
it says mixed status households and families where citizens, example, U.S. born children, live with the ineligible non-citizens. Assistance is strictly prorated. So you have a citizen that's living in the house with non-citizens, so it's prorated differently based off of the income that the citizen provides. The housing authority only pays the percentage of the voucher corresponding to the eligible members, forcing the family to pay higher out-of-pocket rent shares. And then it says the benefit cliff trap. Traditional brick and mortar housing units show a distinct multi-generational cycle because rent is tied to 30% of the tenant's income. Sudden wage increases can trigger a benefit cliff where the family loses 100% of their housing subsidy, inadvertently disincentivizing economic mobility, meaning they got a raise in their income and it removed them from their home, and yet their income still wasn't big enough to put them in a home that they could afford. I don't necessarily agree with that, right?
Right.
And then fixed income stagnation, a massive block in the local housing baseline, 33 to 50%, is occupied by seniors and individuals on permanent disability because their incomes are structurally capped by Social Security or SSI. They remain permanent fixtures in the system with no mathematical path to transition into private market. That happened when she was in charge of Broadway Towers. That's basically for the elderly and disabled.
Right. Yes.
They Once they got in, they left in an ambulance. You know what I mean? For
Oh
the most
yeah.
part,
Yeah.
it was very few and far between that left. That went to a better place. You know what I mean? Because their income couldn't handle somewhere else anyway. And they still had to
Well,
meet
rather
all.
than if they got to a point where they had a family member that would take them in,
Yeah,
um, and the reason we answered several calls there, you know,
yeah,
so
yeah,
so most of them were medical calls. Every once in a while there'd be a neighbor argument or whatnot, but
yeah. Not
you're
much.
right. I
Yeah,
mean, those people that live there, they've been living there for 20 years,
yeah, or longer.
and
Some, yeah.
yeah, and they were sick, and that's why we were there.
Yeah, you may have met my wife at one time, because she was at the front desk there. She's the one that ran.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm sure I have. Yeah,
she ran Broadway Towers for a while. I say ran. She was renting and leasing whatever name that they put on there. So she
agent,
did all that stuff.
agent.
Yeah. So it says
Right,
sociological and local housing data indicates that generational cultures do exist within specific segments of subsidized housing in East Tennessee, though its nature depends entirely on the type of housing program. The multi-generational cycle. Local caseworkers and housing advocates note that it is common to see families with grandparents, parents, and adult children have all raised within the same localized um, public housing infrastructure. So um, I just thought that it was interesting what was going on in the community when it came to the housing authority, because we talk about the sheriff's department, highway department, these people like that, but we have other issues too. Housing authority, you know what I mean? There's a lack of
Oh yeah,
housing.
absolutely.
The
Well, I
waiting
mean,
list is high.
if
Go
you
ahead.
think about it, I look at it like this. It's kind of like uh, tennis shoes. You know, you find a good pair of tennis shoes. I mean, you've got something, right? So that's what you're accustomed to, and that's what you're going to keep doing. You're going to keep getting that brand of shoe. That's what
Yep.
same as blue jeans, t-shirts, whatever. Once you get to that point where you're comfortable with what's going on, then that's where you're going to stay. Now, I want to go back too and say that the housing has not been good to the people that are on fixed income, if that makes sense. Because
Right.
when you're on a fixed income and there's no way, if you say with Social Security, if you start drawing early, then you're limited on how much money you can make.
True. Yep.
So if you try and get a part-time job to say where you want to rent a better house or you want to do better for yourself, then you're penalized. So a lot of people's mentality is, why should I even try to do better when I could just be right here where I'm at and I'm comfortable and there's nobody gonna mess with me because this is where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I look at like the rental houses we've got. I mean, and we have several. We've not went on up on our rent since before COVID. I think the right now I have two houses in the city of Maryville. One's a $1,200 a month rental, and I think she rents the other one for around 1,500 or 1,600.
Yeah.
But it's right across from the park.
Yeah.
It's city of Maryville school system. Of course, mine is too, but it's over on the other end of town.
Right. Yeah.
So your demographic has a lot to do with what you charge, area wise, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Now,
Absolutely. Yeah.
with I've gone in the last 4 years with three property assessment increases, in 3 years. So obviously now I'm at the point where I had to put an air conditioner. I had to redo some, duct work. The plumbing, we worked on it, and putting a new roof on it. At some point in time, you're gonna have to add that to it to recoup some of your money. And my property taxes, they're not going to get any cheaper.
No.
So I have to increase my rent now, depending on what is fair. I can't just see. And we've talked about it because I don't want to go in this $2,100, $2,200 price range and price good people that would be good renters out of a home, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try and be as fair as I can with all my properties. And like I said, first thing we do, water, utility, electric, put roofs on them. When we go in, we refurbish the inside. We sheetrock, knock down texture, carpets,
Yeah.
new flooring, paint, um, and we don't do junk. You know, but at the same time, we try and stay low, like I said, for people that can afford fairly. Like
Yeah.
I said, we probably could have been rich. You know what I mean? But we just didn't want to do that and price people. This guy that I had the health issues, he ran for 3 years without any issues.
Yeah.
And now it's got to the point where he's got an open wound on his leg, and he's got medical bills, and those things. And I was like, hey, let's check with the housing authority, see if we can get you some help. Get you at Broadway Towers or somewhere, man.
Right.
I don't want to put nobody out on the street.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And then the
Especially if they're
waiting
good
list.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's like, hey, there's 2 or 3 year waiting list. And I'm sitting there thinking, I can't fathom that. You know what I mean? With, with people that, and I can't say that everything's wrong and everything's right, because there's people that I'm sure does vouchers and they've got a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. And if it's a $1,500 voucher and the rent was $2,200 a month, then they could pay extra, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but I'm sure that if somebody really wanted to do that, they could. You know, um, like I said, I just can't see pricing good people out of homes, and that's what we've done. I mean, you look at a house that I bought in 2016 in the city of Maryville. Those houses are selling for damn near $300,000, $320,000. You know, and I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way. It's not reasonable and prudent. And what it is these investors are buying these houses. I mean, if you've got property, I guarantee you get at least 10 text messages and 4 or 5 phone calls a day want to buy your property from
Right.
some outside investment group. I mean, I get stuff in the mail every day. There's a guy on TV. Hey, we'll buy your home. If it's a tenant won't pay, if it's a divorce, if it's you got $25,000 worth of repairs, I'll buy your house. Well, they're spending all this money and they're pricing the local people
Out.
out of home,
Yep.
out of rental homes,
Yeah.
because they're fixing them up and they're like, hey, I can get $2,200 a month, man. And then you've got these people like, where's this coming from? Well, it's coming from outside investors, you know?
It's crazy. Just in the last 5 years, 4 years, ever since COVID, what it's done, and I don't know how they get all of their numbers, from the state legislators that gets passed down to the counties the way that they do. I don't know. You probably know better than I do, based on the fact you own multiple properties, but where their tax rate comes into, but it like you said, three times since COVID, and then you're repairing your homes to keep them in shape, and so the money's got to come somewhere.
Well,
Hang on one second. You keep talking, Alan. I got a rogue cat, man.
that's okay. I got one in myself. Uh, the issue is when you've got all these properties that you're spending money on, and they keep going up, property tax wise or property value wise. And like I said, you've got to reinvest. I mean, I've got homes that I'll be damned if I'm going to half do. If I won't live in them, I sure don't want any of my renters to live in them. So
Right.
that's the biggest thing. I don't care about you know, we don't have moldy houses. We don't have. I mean, hell, 2 years ago, I had a family of groundhogs move in underneath one of my houses in the city, and it destroyed the air conditioning unit and all the duct work. You know, so you
Right.
got. Then I had raccoons one time. You know, so there, people don't realize there's a lot to it. You know, and like I said, if I'm doing something, I'm going to do it to where if something happens to my home, God forbid, but I can move in and live there. You know, I want to be just as comfortable as what I live in, especially if somebody's paying me their hard earned money.
That is true. All right, I was looking to see what was going on here.
Then again, you've got some other people that they don't care. You know, they'll just buy a house, put some lipstick on it, and hey, bam, the next thing you know, it's shot full of mold, and it's no big deal. I mean, there's what you call plenty of slumlords around. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
and I don't want to be classified as. I mean, you know, if somebody says, "Hey, if you Catherine Jones and Alan Latham, they're the landlords you want. They take care of their properties, they keep them up." You know, the guy that rent for me, we were cutting the grass. You know, I try and work that in to the rental part of it, because that way I don't have to worry about getting knee high and codes from the city of Maryville calling say, hey, it's 4 to 6 inches. So we try and do all the landscape and all the maintenance outside. So uh, you know, then I've got some younger renters, they want to do their own, and that's fine. You know, as long as they maintain it, it's not an issue.
True. True, man. My I keep my yard cut, but I pay somebody to do it. So,
Right.
and just odd. You come back on tonight. I got the HUD thing going. I never imagined that all to work together. So, but it was interesting to me to know that we're paying 6.1 to $6.4 million. It makes me wonder how many of them are actually you know el- able to work and find a job, so it doesn't become a long term deal. The other thing was there, like you were saying, the fraud part about it is I know people, or I have members in the family that they've lived on it their whole life since they were 18.
Right.
You try to scare them into, look, we can help you do something better, and they get all scared and this, that, and the other, and whatever, and they'll go through great lengths to make sure that they pass all these, whatever criteria that they base it on, so that they get subsidized housing, food stamps, this, that, and the other, and it drives me crazy to watch
Well,
them. Just
I can say that we did work, utility work, in those projects, and there was a lot of people smoking Marlboro Reds. You know what I'm saying?
right, or driving nice vehicles.
Yeah, and nice
You know,
cars. And like I said, I mean, I don't know, maybe they inherited it or whatever. But I'm sitting there. If I'm on a fixed income, I'm not buying $10 pack of Marlboro Reds. I'm going to buy them Chiefs or Indians or whatever
whatever.
the
Yeah,
cheapest brand they got. Pall Mall, filterless, or uh, and of course, teach their own. There's always going to be somebody that's going to take advantage of something. It doesn't matter what kind of enforcement you have. There's always going to be some way or somebody push the envelope, get away with it. They're going to tell their buddy how they got away with it, and so on and so forth. And then it'll work for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and then you'll have one big mouth come out and tell somebody, and they'll tell the wrong person. It'll get back to. So it's kind of like you got your own little tattletale in a bunch. It's just a matter of time before they tell.
that's true. But some of these have done it for a long time. The part that made me mad was is they were like, look what you can accomplish when you work hard. And I was like, let's talk about this whole, working hard. You're collecting all this and that, and then you have a lucrative little side job that's paying cash all the time.
And that's
And
the
then
thing. There's the cash money. That's
yeah,
that's
and
what
I'm like, you realize, yeah, you didn't earn it the way that you thought you did, not even close. So, but yeah, but it's what prompted me to look into what's going, because I hadn't done it in such a long time because I haven't been involved in it. I used to hear the shit that was going on around there daily. Some people are crazy and some weren't. Some actually needed it, some didn't, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe that we're allowing these things to happen. And then they built that really nice building over there. You know what I mean? And the executive director has a fantastic office with a fireplace and a flat screen TV, and then they got boardrooms and
right. Yeah.
all that good stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so these were all vouchers and funded and money that they generate with properties they may or may not own, and all that good stuff. But it was just interesting to dig into it and find that the biggest part of the people that are using it are 25 to 50. So
Well, I mean, they're workable people.
workable people, I would say. If they're disabled in that age group, that's one thing, but if you're actually, if you're working under the table or just
I've got
coasting along,
and I just talk about workable people. I was reading this earlier on Facebook. I'll see if I can pull it up. Uh, I've got a friend that they lived here in Blount County for a long time. Their kid grew up, played little league football for me, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on forth. But they moved to Ormond Beach, Florida, in Florida. So I don't know if the same thing's going on here that's going on there. But she said that her daughter has put in over 150 applications. Okay, and these people are needing workers. I'm sure there's a lot of seasonal work there right now, same as probably here, Dollywood, things like that. And the reason I'm saying this because you got the 25 to 50. This girl is 25 to 30, age range. She's put in 150 applications. And these people, supposedly everybody's desperate to be hired. She says that no callbacks, no emails, no nothing. She's even gone in to talk to managers and not getting any response. So I guess my thing is, if we're talking about this 50, 25 to 50 age range, and they are actively seeking work, are they being done the same way as this young lady is?
Fair question. Yeah.
And that's another thing. I mean, you obviously we've got people that do take advantage, but I think there is some people in that age group that are actively looking. Now, you can't just go in and say, "Well, I want to be a damn CEO." You've got to be able to step into something like I did. I got $7.15 an hour job, and then you can work your way up and progress. Now like I said, some of these people are going in, man. If you don't have any kind of computer work, I don't want to do it. But I mean, the guy that scrubbed the floors and worked in the mailroom eventually became a CEO, or a good investor.
Yeah.
But like I said, at the same time, you can't pick what you want to do all the time. Go get a job, better yourself, or are you being done the same way as they're doing these young people?
That's fair.
I think my biggest thing when I left Knox Area Vocational School, when I had some welding machine certificates, at the time, the Daily Times is where you got your jobs. Daily Times are the new Sentinel. It's always had want ads. Well, that's gone. But at the time, everybody wanted, 3 to 5 years experience, minimum 3 to 5 years, minimum 3 years, remember, whatever. The first job I ever got, I sat down and talked with the human resource director. I told him, I said, listen, I just graduated from school, man. How am I going to get any kind of experience if nobody will give me an opportunity?
Yeah, it's true.
And he hired me. He gave me a chance, and that's all I needed. But that's the thing. Some of these people, they just need to take a chance.
Yeah.
But if that's not what they want to do, then no, I don't want to do that, or I can't pick up garbage, or I can't, clean up vomit in the cafeteria. It's something beneath them, and so I think we've lost a lot of people. Obviously since 85, 86, where they're not the game and computer type things like that. They don't have any hands-on stuff. And I mean, I think the good Lord, my son, he wanted to start doing what I did when he was 7, 8 years old, and he's doing very, very well now. And he's got 5 or 6 buddies that like to do the same thing. They like to farm, and that's a plus. Because I told them, I said, you're going to do a lot of shit that nobody else wants to do.
Yep.
And all you have to do is show up. If you show up, it's a done deal. Because here lately, I've gotten so many jobs because they're like, hey, we called 20 people and you're the only one that showed up.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's just lazy, people don't want to work, or I think of it as like selling cars. If I was a car salesman and I was making $500-600 a car, every car I sold, I'd probably try to sell 20 or 25 cars a month. And then you got that one salesman, he's going to make $20,000 off that one car. Well, he's not going to work as hard as you.
Yeah.
You're going to make more if you sell more, obviously. But if you just sell that one, you've paid your bills. So I think hard work and dedication and it goes a long way, especially now, especially after they've taken the trades and they're like, we don't need that. We need computer engineers. We need, gamers, whatever. And now these kids that have put their hands on are going to really excel because of what they've done with their hands and what they will do with their hands. So
I did building trades in high school.
I'm saying, look at your job. Look at HVAC techs. They're hard to find right now. I've got a buddy of mine that owns a heating and air business. He's like, you can't buy them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, have you seen the Tennessee Truth news reporting by Kevin McNeil?
I've been looking at some of that, and I ain't been on Facebook a whole lot this week. I kind of like here and there. Are we talking about the PPE?
Yeah. I just like what he's done. He's come out with this, like letterhead news type thing, and
Yeah, I've seen some of that. Um,
he's done a fantastic job. But this one was, I guess, 629 yesterday.
yeah,
Pellissippi Parkway Extension. State bears 100% of the cost. This is the amount a Tennessee county contributes to the state highway project depends entirely on the classification of the road and the specific statutory program used to fund it. Here's how Tennessee Departments of Transportation, TDOT, and state law break down local fiscal responsibilities. Standard state highways and interstate, 0% mandated local match. By default, if a road is designated as a standard state highway or interstate, the state of Tennessee bears 100% of the cost for design, right of way acquisition, construction, and ongoing maintenance, right?
right.
Two, he says state aid highway program, 2% to 25% match. So if the program for a local county road that requires construction, planning, and paving, but are designated as part of a state aid network, so the default state law generally requires 25% local match from the county. You think that's what we're falling into?
Well, but my my gathering on this is somebody's wanting this done now.
Right.
So if we ante up or pony up any money, then it's going to be moved up. That's the whole reasoning behind this $6 million a piece,
Yeah.
And so somebody in the alcohol government, somebody in the city of Maryville government, somebody in the Blount County government. I mean, even though it's been pushed off the last two meetings that I can remember,
Yep.
Somebody's wanting this moved from 2030 to 2026, or 2027. And that's why they're wanting to pony up this money to acquire these right of ways. Now, I really don't know what the benefit is. We've gone without this parkway for 40 years. I mean, in
Yep.
2000, it's 26 years since we first moved the water line. It's still not been developed. Our right of ways hadn't been. Now, some of the right of ways, which I guess the IDB they were talking about, those areas along Pellissippi that have about this property. There's an app that I'm assuming those are right of ways. There was some right of way acquisition or transfers when my uncle was a purchasing agent for TDOT. So I know there's some right of ways and some acquisitions been made, but not to the effect that they want. So
Right.
I think somebody's wanting this project for some reason streamlined to benefit something somewhere, somehow, some way.
Look, Jason, can you hear us?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right.
Let's get that hat at, dog. That's a good looking hat.
Thank you. Got that
What's
from
it
my
say?
boy at Pro Science Shop.
Got
What's
it
it
from
say?
where?
Pro Science Shop, Lloyd
Oh, Lloyd.
at Pro Science Shop on
Yeah, I
Montville.
know Lloyd. Yeah.
Yeah.
The heck's it say? Got what? Oh my gosh. So that's what you was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at that.
It's like them got milk commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing, same concept.
There you go.
I mean, since it's so prevalent here in this town, I thought we should embrace it somehow.
Well, so we were talking about the Pellissippi Parkway extension, I guess. I don't know if you caught the tail end of it or what.
I seen a little.
Like I
I
said,
heard a little bit.
like I said, somebody's wanting to streamline it somehow.
I
For some
closed the
reason.
account out by accident.
So, and I don't know who, but obviously it was put on the agenda twice. I think now been removed twice.
Right. So we're talking about if it's a state highway, county highway together, it's a 25%, 2 to 25% match from the county. If it is a local interstate connector program, it's 50% from the county split. If it's a grant specific, matches 10 to 50%. Anyway, you can find all of this on Tennessee Truth News Reporting, Kevin J. McNeil. Click the link below. But anyway, it's exactly what Alan's trying to say, that it's somebody's wanting it done. But technically, I think
there's $12 million sitting on the table right now, 6 in Alco and 6 in Maryville.
yeah, because the county hasn't done nothing yet.
And they're just waiting for the 6. So that's 21. It's going to be 18 million.
It could be, yeah.
It's a done deal.
Well, yeah, it's going to be. It's either going to be. I don't know that it'll be a done deal through the county. I think, I don't know. I can't speak for the incoming commissioners, but I think that if a decision should be made, then the people that are newly elected, which is going to be affected throughout this process, should be the ones voting on it. I mean, that's just my opinion, especially since they got this big raise. Big raise, you got to make big decisions.
That's true. So your hat's a big splash, Jason.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Says you need to wear that to the next county commission meeting. Shayna Kirkland. Daryl G. Monday says nice cap. Yeah, so for just popping in like 2.5 minutes ago, you got some traction.
He's kicking it, right? He's out. He surpassed you and I.
Yeah, I know. I
thought we were doing a good job. He comes in, man, and he's just
you didn't tell me that's what you was getting the other day when we was talking
he's
about
a dapper Dan, you know what I mean?
That is great. Love that shit right there. I cannot believe that. It's so great. That is so great. So, all right, let's where was I at? Right here. We did the Pellissippi. We'll check this one out. This is
So wait a minute. Y'all are saying that you think that the new commissioners will be able to vote it down? Stop the Pellissippi?
I think they can. Now, whether they will or not, I don't know. But I personally think they're newly elected. They should be the ones looking at it. It's because it's going to affect them throughout their terms.
Yeah.
So I think if anybody should be deciding, it should be decided after the new commissioners are sworn in and they take their seats. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
I agree.
I don't think anything should be rushed through. Like I said, there's some commissioners come out and they swore up and down they would vote against it. So let's see.
That's right.
I mean, like I said, those people are the ones that are going to affect their term for the remainder of the 4 years that they're there. They're trying to push this through, and the only thing I can see is they're trying to push it through because the newly elected commissioners are going to vote it down. That would be the only reason I would be trying to push to get it passed.
It makes a lot of sense, man. Damn it. I'm trying to find the article. I pulled it up. It gave me a screenshot, but it didn't give me the actual article. So give me a second. It's about the, well, I guess when I find it, I'll read it. But I agree with you, Alan. I think it needs to wait till the new commissions is completely voted in and sworn in, and let the rest of them just, I don't know, show up.
Well, I think they've got enough information on it so far that they've all been researching it after, and the election, early voting starts in 2 weeks for the August election.
Yes.
So if they win, then they're in. So as soon as they take their seat, it ought to be brought to a vote. And then it's yay or nay. And like I said, you've got a bunch of commissioners that said they would absolutely not vote for it.
I don't know. I was understanding that it was the TDOT said they didn't. It was going that that one meeting for the $5 million was only for the easement, but
And that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
But the reason they want this money is to streamline, to do it faster. It's a done deal in 2023 or 2040, whatever date the TDOT's projected. But they're wanting this money so they can do it faster.
oh, okay,
Is that not correct?
Yes.
That's what they want. I mean, so it moves from 2030 to 2027 or 2034, whatever the projected date was. Of course, projected date's 20 whatever. They'll move that. And what they do is if a bigger project comes in, say they need to expand 640 somewhere and make it 20 lanes, then they'll redirect that money for the parkway somewhere else. But if they're guaranteed that, it's locked in. That makes sense. So if they get their $6 million apiece, then they'll lock that in, and they'll start purchasing right of ways, and then they'll start excavating.
This is crazy.
That's the guarantee of it. I mean, that's the only reason I could think that they want that money is to lock it in, and then that way, it's kind of like a down payment. If you put that $18 million down, then you're guaranteed that. If they decide they want to push Pellissippi off for another 20 years, to redirect money somewhere else, Franklin, Tennessee, wherever, then they can do that unless, like I said, they got a down payment.
yeah. Well,
That would be the only reason why.
Whatever project was on Morganton Road and somewhere else, and in Boyd's Creek, they cut that money out so they could use it for that.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. They're saying this Pellissippi Parkway extension project is more important than Morganton Road.
Yes.
Or that Boyd's Creek. But like I said, if they come up and they say, hey, there's a bigger project over here, we can redirect that $340 million from Pellissippi Parkway extension to here and redo it. And then they may put that money in there for 5 years and something else come up and they'll say, well, we can redirect that money over here, or half of it, or a third of it, whatever.
All right, I found it now. Gosh darn it. It just took forever. I appreciate you guys talking. It makes it better instead of watching me scroll. All right, watch this right here. Let's see.
Yeah, Montville Road.
Montville Road. There we go. Let's do that. It's a 160-acre Alcoa site may finally be discussion. We talked about this AI South Plant thing ever since episode 1 of Blount County Breakdown. In the beginning, we were told it wasn't real, it didn't exist. Then we were told it was rumors. They made a resolution to do some things to slow it down. The Tennessee state legislation passed some laws to make sure that these owners had to hit the city of Alcoa, city of Maryville, and Blount County are in early stages of acquiring the site for development. Local officials said the deal has been in the works for years. Now the property could finally change hands. Long time, said Manager Greg McLean, at least 15 to 20 years probably. Now the Industrial Development Board could purchase around 160 acres of land around the former aluminum smelting facility, the IDB. Why? One of the advantages of owning this land are that the counties get to decide what gets put on it, said Jeff Muir, or however you pronounce his name, the communications director for Blount Partnership. They get to zone it the way they want to. It is heavy manufacturing, heavy industrial right now. The site is located in Alcoa, but all 3 localities would invest in the property. Remember how we said it had to go through Maryville and Blount County in order for this thing to work, right? Where's it at? It says the city of Alcoa and Maryville will each shoulder 30% of the cost. and Blount County will cover the remaining 40% of the expected $20 million. Guess who this investment's being made with? It's been that way for well over 100 years when Alcoa Aluminum Company was using the site. We just want to keep making sure that the way it is set up now continues to be used for the future. It is too soon to say how the property developed, but local officials remain confident that it's ready for business. Does this article say it? This one doesn't.
What business?
Oblinger, the guy from Alcoa. Oh, they're saying businesses. Like, since the Industrial Developmental Board and Blount Partnership combined with the three entities here, the city of Alcoa, Maryville, and Blount County, they'll be able to do whatever they want to it. It says Alcoa City Manager Bruce Applegate said if the property is purchased, it could then be rezoned by local governments to prevent the data center from being built in Alcoa. It could be then zoned by law to prevent a data center from being built. The other article that I had,
didn't you just say
that I can't find now,
that the government's going to give the money to the IDB?
It says now the Industrial Development Board could purchase around the 160 acres of land around the former aluminum smelting facility.
But that's with the money from the Maryville, Alcoa, Blount County, right?
160 acres around it.
But that's with money from Maryville, Alcoa, and Blount County. They're going to buy the land. The IDB's going to buy it with our money.
This article says the city of Alcoa, Maryville, and Blount are the early stages of acquiring the Alcoa South plant site. So city of Maryville, Alcoa, and Blount County are in the early stages of acquiring the Alcoa South plant site for development. And then it goes on to say that the Industrial Developmental Board could purchase around 160 acres of land around the former aluminum smelting facility. So
you're cutting out scrolling too fast. So this is my take on that. Alcoa, Maryville, Blount County, if they're going to buy it, they just need to buy it and keep it, because the IDB ain't never done shit with the property worth a damn for nothing. That's just my take on it. I mean, they've got that property out there at Jackson Hills that ain't got jack shit in it. We got hoodooed on that deal. We've lost millions and millions of dollars. They don't pay property tax on that 160 acre tract. So we're going to lose property tax on that. Anytime we get a business in Blount County, we give them an exemption for however many years. And if they add on, they give them another many years. And then add on, I don't think Nipendenzo's ever paid property tax, to be honest with you. I mean, every time they go down there, they've added on to something. They get some kind of benefit or kickback. And it's just left up to us to take up the slack, and the businesses that don't pay taxes. Property tax.
I still believe that the Industrial Developmental Board is in the hole for $20 million from the Pellissippi Park thing there at the end.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They've not done anything. I mean, so
if they would make all these businesses pay their taxes, we would be in the good. I guarantee.
We got to do something to get them here, man, and have jobs here. So if we promise you not to pay property tax for 10 years, and then you have 300 people working there, and then you come out, it's like, man, it's 10 years, and we're going to pay property tax. How about we add on a building? If we add 200 more jobs here, okay, we'll do you another 10 years. And then 10 years later, they do that, we're going to add more jobs, we're going to build another building, so on and so forth. I mean, they're always going to give them benefits, because they think everybody in Blount County works at Nipendenzo, and they don't. Everybody's like, well, I've seen so many people that drive from Sevierville Fitness Center to Denzo. I used to see them every morning, and they would stop, get gas, get in their car, and leave. They want to get beer and cigarettes. They get them when they get close to home.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to take a chance on popping the top on a beer in Blount County and trying to make it to the county line without getting a DUI.
Yeah.
So they're going to stop at the store, the Walmart, the gas station. They're going to get their beer and cigarettes closer to home. They're not spending their money in Blount County. They're going to Union County, Granger County, Sevierville, Knox County. That's where they're getting their stuff. You know, all those apartment buildings out there on top side. I'll be damned if I'm going to drive back to Walmart over here. I can get on there and go to Publix, Kroger. I can get to Knoxville in the same amount of time on the interstate with less headache and less traffic jam. Try and get on the highway between 2:30 and 4:30 in the afternoon. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that are getting all these jobs and all these housing and stuff, they're not buying their stuff here. They're going somewhere else. I don't give a shit what they say. You know, that's like a $11 million ballpark. There's not $11 million worth of revenue to generate out there. There's a Lala Pizza, a Burger or a McDonald's, Subs and Subway. I think there's one Mexican restaurant over at Chapeline's. You know, we're going to invest all this money, but we can generate $11 million. Somebody said we could generate $11 million a year in revenue.
From where?
From a ballpark?
From that ballpark.
From Eagleton?
Ballpark?
Yeah.
It looks really nice.
It's beautiful. I mean, it is.
How are they going to generate $11 million a year?
I don't know.
Tournaments and stuff like that. I don't know if it'll work, but I mean, that's somebody selling something to them. You know what I mean? So they're going to have to sell the facility, and
that's what I'm saying. So
they're going to sell a bunch of facilities.
Do they pay property tax on those fields?
That's a great question, Alan. Yeah, you know, these are things.
I ain't trying to be ugly. I think the kids, man, they need somewhere to go.
Yeah, I'm with you there too.
I mean, you got Maryville Little League. When my kid was playing, I played ball. We had Eagleton Maryville Little League. We had league play. You know, my kid played baseball. He played at Maryville. He played at Eagleton. He played travel. He damn near played 68 games a year, man, as a 8-year-old kid. I said, dude, this is ridiculous, man. You're going to end up playing this game?
I played at Eagleton. It was fine the way it was.
Yeah.
It was really old. I had a house over there when it was starting.
Well, I know it was old, but
starting to go downhill. You know what I mean? Where they weren't taking care of the fields. I don't know if it was budgeted in anymore. The Eagleton All-Stars weren't there quite the same way. You know, because there was a time when it flourished. It was always doing something over there.
There was a time when Eagleton Little League was the Alcoa and Maryville of baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they multiple state championships, district championships, World Series appearances. I mean, you know.
You couldn't find a place to park it when I played.
Oh. No, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, I didn't mean to get off track, but
no.
You know,
I mean,
we spent a lot of money over there. I mean, we gonna get any back?
Rate of what do they call that? Rate of return or something like that? ROI, right? Yeah, ROI. Is there going to be an ROI?
I think like in I can't remember 8, 9, 10 somewhere in there when we did the Clayton Arts Center. I think the county government was the only one that didn't put money in that. Maryville Alcoa did. So we weren't getting raises. So I said, hey, when are we going to start generating that revenue off that Clayton Arts Center? I mean, because you can buy beer stuff there now. I mean, used to you couldn't, but you know, when we're going to have Kid Rock and all these big concerts, you know, y'all talk about and bringing some more money back. Oh, we're not. We donated that money.
It's crazy.
No, I mean, yeah.
That's crazy.
So you know, you got these people working their ass off, and you're just donating their money. You know.
Yeah. So Clayton's supposedly donated a lot of money. That's why they got the name on there, right? I have no clue. I've never really done.
I don't know.
Any research in on it, you know?
I mean, I can just sit around and think about all the shit that we just pissed away, you know? And it's not done the county or the citizens a damn bit of good. Some things over in Alcoa and Maryville too, you know? Just sit and think about all the stuff that you've been in the government and watched them do. And no benefit from it. You know what I'm saying?
So whatever happened to the Maryville Amphitheater there behind the old courthouse? It used to have the Foothills Fall Festival, but they kept saying
Festival, yeah,
they were losing money on it. But there for a while they had some really good I don't know how they lost my. I was there every year the first few years, so
If
Is that what
if you
they
take
got the
something that they had and they had like on Sundays gospel music,
yeah,
you wouldn't believe the people that come Sundays just to listen to gospel music. Some people just bought tickets for Sunday to come listen to gospel music.
yeah,
But when you start taking something that's uh, kind of county generated, county driven, and you start trying to do, you know, Clay Walker and Alabama and all these big name bands you're paying $300,000-$400,000 for to come play, you can't do nothing but lose money.
right,
You know, I know when they come in, there's all kinds of special shit you got to do for them. You know, if I'm a big name uh, star, I mean, I want this and this and this or this, and then you see people running crazy trying to go get all the things that they want, special outside of what they've already got.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, you know, like I said, when it got too big, when it got where it was starstruck, I could say,
right,
that's when they started losing money. When you had local acts and local people and people from Knoxville, you know, local bands and things like that coming and playing, you'd be surprised the people that follow some of these local people. You know, they've got some of them's got a big following. I mean, like Blackberry Smoke and things like
yep,
that. Of course, they weren't real big, you know, as they are
yeah,
now. And I don't
yeah,
know, I don't even know what it cost to book them. You know, but
10 years was small, started out small in Knoxville.
yeah, Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson ain't lost no money. They're still
no,
doing their shows at
yeah,
Shed.
yeah, yeah.
You
They
know,
found a
so I
way.
mean, obviously, it didn't go to the point where they got these big name rock stars that have to come in here. You
No,
know,
they found a way to make it work between sales off of alcohol and food plus whatever ticket sales else. The Shed does a fantastic job, and I've seen them. They did a fantastic job out there. So I don't get that. So yeah, you're right. The Shed does fine with it, but the local government can't keep up with what's going on. And you're right, man. They could have kept the Sunday thing going on. They could have brought in local groups. I don't know if that's going to be the big draw in for it though. But
that's how it started.
I know
It was big time then with local people.
that is true. I mean, my kids were
Then you
small.
had to go. I mean, hell, you couldn't find a seat in that amphitheater
That's true.
seating area. You know,
That is true. Yeah. It just
I'm gonna be honest with you. I worked the police department. I, for one, I'm glad it's gone, man, because we couldn't even take vacation, and that's the only time that I could afford vacation through spring break.
right.
So, I mean, if you worked at the police department, nobody could be off.
Huh.
Nobody off. Everybody had to work.
Huh.
So, you know, and then that killed my family stuff because, like I said, that's when I could afford to go on vacation, spring break. So, I mean, I think it had stayed local, and they could have got some bigger acts like Blackberry Smoke or, you know, these other local people. You know, I mean, look, hell, what do you have? 2,000 or 3,000 people at the Shed? You know,
At
for
least,
Blackberry
yeah.
Smoke.
At least, yeah. It
You
was
know, so I
packed.
mean,
And they did two shows.
said,
And it was like a Friday, Saturday. So I went to one. It
yeah,
was packed. It was packed, man.
like I said, they were doing a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. They were doing all gospel music. Like I
Yeah.
said, I mean, you had you know, close to 600-700 people there on Sundays just for the gospel show,
Yeah, it's true.
and then they would come in that night with big Clay Walker or Alabama or whatever. But sometimes they'd have somebody on Saturday night. I don't know. But
Yeah.
like I said, when it got so big that you had to feel like you had to bring these big names in to outdo yourself in the last year, the year before that, or the year before that, that's when it all went to hell.
Yeah.
You just priced yourself out of a great thing for a bunch of local people, you know, and local to the area, county wise, you know, Sevier, Blount, Knox, Monroe, you know, these people that were coming from different areas. You know, they had the craft fair downtown. They shut it down.
I,
Can't
I
say
don't.
that it didn't do good. You know, they had Ziggy the squirrel, the skiing squirrel down there, and all the kids loved him. You know, so
So it was right there where Broadway Towers was, and those
right,
people they
yeah,
loved it. You know, we got to watch it get set up and you know tear down. We spent the weekend there when when all that was going on, enjoying that stuff too. So yeah, I don't know whatever. Now that you brought that up, I don't what happened with that either.
I mean, we just spend more than you can't spend more than you make, and that's government. So, if we can't make it, hell, we'll tax them. We'll get it somehow.
Okay, that's great. That is great. Well, I don't have any more articles. I mean, I have the one. Did you guys hear about the Maryville man? That was he is one among 4 that was charged in a scheme to defraud the U.S. military.
I didn't see that one.
He, Alex Beth, 50, of Maryville, Tennessee. All 4 suspects face charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, while Turner and Wolfgram, I guess the other 2 guys, also face money laundering charges. They appeared in court on Tuesday. They all entered not guilty pleas and were released pending trial. It says the indictment alleges the group conspired to obtain contracts with the Defense Logistics Agency, a Department of Defense agency, to provide the military with original equipment manufactured parts like fuel injectors and generators. They're accused of instead providing unapproved aftermarket parts and attempting to conceal the sources by creating false documents and labels to make them appear legitimate.
Didn't they make a movie about some guys who were selling ammunition like that?
Yeah.
Or dogs or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me like that's what they did here. They just made some labels, changed some stuff around, and there we go. And then, well, I mean, how good do they actually check that stuff? I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I've heard in the past they pay $300 for a toilet seat. So I'll tell you who should be in trouble if this is actually fact. Whoever bought the shit. Whoever accepted it, checked it in, and said it was good, they ought to court-martial his ass.
Yeah.
I just say this: if you're doing it and you're the one looking at it, then you should know what you're looking at. And if you sit there and you did know, then you were helping them do what they did.
Yep, I agree. Kim said she knew it was over when Roy's record shop closed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Roy's record shop was a big deal.
The other thing that I had on here, but I was kind of hoping Robert would be involved in that, was the inmate thing, where Shuli Rupert did her own little op-ed, where she went through the database of Blount County bookings and found all the
Hispanics as whites.
As white, yeah. It's just another thing that the sheriff's department's got going on. It's several things actually since the primaries have been over, but it's just one more thing. What makes them? I don't know. Why did they think they would get away with nobody reporting that eventually? You know what I mean?
So I mean, I don't understand what they're trying to get away with. I mean, is that because they're trying to keep
ICE out of there, or is it because
287G, or
do they
trying to keep from having to enforce that, or
do they make more money?
I've talked to people who said as soon as a Hispanic is arrested, doesn't matter what for, they're gone.
I don't know.
They notify ICE, and they're transferred or transported to Louisiana or wherever. So I don't think I mean, even the Hispanic guys that I talk to, they're here legal. They're like, hey, you hear about so and so? No, I said, oh shit, he gone. I mean, him no driver's license, gone.
Right.
Driving, gone. And the thing about this is this. I mean, I completely understand that the DUIs and the domestic assaults and the things like that. Driver's license, I when I was in law enforcement, it was hard for me to take somebody to jail when I knew they were trying to go to work. And if somebody was driving on a suspended driver's license, if I wrote them a citation, if I took them to jail, all the fines that they paid, they could be this close to getting their driver's license.
Yeah.
If you arrest them or write them a citation, they got to come to court, and they pack all that shit back on top of that. So when they were this close, now they're this close.
Yeah.
They can't. There's no way to even get out of the system.
So yeah, she must have went through the booking database, and she pulled up a little flyer. When I pull it up, it only takes me to the inmate now thing where you start looking up the inmate. But she must have went through there and found 5 or 6 of them, because on her little digital flyer it showed their names. And why, I don't know. It's just a good question to ask. Why would they label them white? It didn't make any sense to me either.
Do they get more money?
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can maybe get more money if they're white. If they're Hispanic, they know that they're leaving. If I was going to pick them up and transport them to a facility, then you wouldn't be able to keep them as long as you would if they're white. I mean, that's the only thing I can think. Non-Hispanic.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
So Heath says that, why are we concerned about parkways when we can't even drive a mile anywhere in the county without getting a nail or a pop tire due to potholes?
That's like, but of course, the right there on Washington Street, before you go to the viaduct, the road right there where tractor trailers and dump trucks have gone in, and they've rutted it out. That's state road. Broadway, East Broadway, West Broadway, those are state roads. 321 state road, Montville state road. Morganton, Louisville Road, all those are state roads. So, like I said, that money that's allotted for the Parkway extension, it could be moved to repave those roads.
Right. Right.
Resurface it, wherever that money's needed. If it's already been allocated, it's already in the bank, they're holding on to it. It's going to be $340 million. Move that money to help fix them. It's like, I'm not an engineer yet, okay? But whoever designed 129 bypass at Broadway ought to have their head shoved straight up somebody's ass. Put a concrete barrier over there that you're trying to get across 4 lanes of traffic to get on the Foothills Mall. Right.
Yeah, that was just an afterthought. They were like, we really ain't got no idea. Let's just do this.
That's what I'm saying. It had to be. But at one time, somebody said they were going to make that a T intersection.
A what?
That wouldn't have worked either, But it would have been better as a T intersection than that, whatever that is they got there. I mean, because you've got to be a damn race car driver to get across that cone. You've got probably 30 feet before you get to the Foothills Mall Drive after that concrete barrier.
Yeah,
maybe 50. And you're trying to, it's like Frogger, dude. It's like Frogger.
Nobody will let you over. People
No.
Pricks.
So, Alan, you ran for county clerk. Did you run for county commissioner too?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say county clerk.
County clerk. Yeah. Scrappy Dog says you're a Kimber. Did you?
I'm a wheel tax man. Wheel tax, baby.
He says you're short, fat, slow, but you get the job done.
That's right.
Yeah. Because Woody didn't know who you were. Alan ain't been on here in a couple weeks. He wasn't feeling good and had to get some other things done, that kind of thing. But he was on a few weeks back. He was on Candid Conversation too, which is how we met him. And so, but yeah, we've been talking HUD today. We talked a little bit of Pellissippi Parkway extension. What else do we talk about? The Alcoa South plant, the 160 acres. Apparently, the Industrial Developmental Board, who is behind on $20 million loan that they already are delinquent on, somehow is going to be able to have the 160 acres around the Alcoa South plant if the two cities and the county can come together to rezone it for not a data center. So we talked about that. And I tried to talk about, the sheriff's department trying to make these Hispanics white. We don't know why, but it was just odd that they're doing that. Just another breakdown in the infrastructure that's going on there. But we won't talk about the guy that's in charge of that. Kathy Williams Birch says it's a done deal. They must fund another $340 million, and they have $58 million backlog on the project. I don't know the exact numbers, but it doesn't sound like she's wrong with all the numbers that's been going on. But it's just odd since the primaries, all these things that have come up since what was that, May?
May the 9th.
Yeah, May the 9th. So we're June.
You see this right here?
Yeah.
Everybody on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. Wish me luck, because if I win the lottery, Alcoa, Maryville, Blount County, or the IDB ain't mine shit. Alan Latham is.
You gonna put a data center there?
If you win what?
Whatever's gonna make me money. I make a lot of
whatever's gonna make you money.
Yeah.
Did you say
I
the
guarantee
lottery?
you can be a data center. The closest data center I'd have to Blount County is Mars.
Yeah, he said lottery.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope when I hit that lottery, baby.
Yeah, he said lottery.
Get some rocks.
So I think, like I said, that if they think they can make money out of a data center, they'll put one over there. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Don't let them fool you.
They will. The data center people will pay millions.
That's what I'm saying. If they're going to make money, don't let them say, "Oh, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this." Okay, you put a moratorium on it. That's fine. But when that runs out, guess what? If they think they can make $450 million, guess what? That's a sold some bitch.
Yeah, so Blount Partnership was talking the other day in their live podcast now because they're trying to get in front of all this stuff because we've been talking about it now for 15 weeks, right? And so I put on there that the new commission, when they're sworn in, is going to make it hard for you. And of course, they didn't comment back onto me because I was like, they're having meetings about these things. They're talking about this new not sworn in commission. About I think they don't like the industrial development or the Blount Partnership. So we'll see, right?
We think they know.
Right, we'll see.
Butter.
We've heard.
That's a crop.
And if that stands true, then more power to it.
With that $6 million that the state of Tennessee wants, when the new commission's sworn in that night, put your ass in the chair, take a vote.
So you got WVLT that said that, so you got Maryville, Alcoa, and Blount County to pick up the 40%. And then the IDB can have the 160 acres that it's around the Alcoa South plant, and then Blount Partnership's involved in this as well. These are all of the entities that we don't want involved in these things because, as Alan said, that if they think they can make money off it, they'll do it. If it won't be a data center, it'll be some ugly town, high rise, who knows, you know what I mean?
Maybe another motel.
Housing.
Like that big one, like that one they built in that sinkhole in Maryville.
Right.
Yeah, right next to Broadway Towers. I don't know if they're trying to help the thing fall down.
If I'm not mistaken, and I may be wrong, at one time, the city of Maryville burned down. And all of that was pushed in that hole right over there where they're trying to find a bottom to put concrete. Okay?
I got to dig deep.
So that's what I'm saying. I think at one time there was a big fire and all that stuff was pushed in that hole right there and covered up. And that's why it was a parking lot. Because when they built the towers over there, they couldn't find bottom to move them on. And that's just me thinking. I think I'm pretty close to being right. And they probably knew that when they sold that guy that property.
Yeah, but is Blount County eating it, having to find the bottom?
No, the guy that bought the property, the ones building the motels, the ones got to find the bottom.
Well, I know that, but I mean, That's the way it should be, but is that the way it is?
No.
Well, I'm assuming it is because there ain't been no work going on over there in probably 6 months.
It's a big hole.
Best
He
thing
bought
they
a
can do is
blinker.
put the thing back in, put some blacktop back on it, and make
The parking lot
lot
again.
number 2 on there.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware.
Well, I mean, one time they wanted I think the city of Maryville tried to sell Fort Craig school and property, and they were going to build a motel there. And then Maryville City School says, "Hey, man, you can't sell that. That's our property." The city tried to come in and hoodoo them and sell that property out from under them, and then they say, "Hell, that belongs to the city school system, not
Yeah.
the Maryville City government." So they were going to put it right there behind Fort Craig, where the motel was supposed to went. When I was growing up, and even when I got in law enforcement, all them motels that were nice at one time, they turned into rat holes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, we just go in there, serve warrants, and chase people out the back. I mean, my grandfather's flower shop was right beside there. I was a kid. Hell, y'all always see City of Maryville pulling in the front. I'd run out the back door to see who was going to jump out the back window and haul ass down Neff Street, the Broadway. That was the good old days.
That's crazy. Yeah, because all those hotels they're not like what they used to be. So, geez. So yeah, that's been the talk of the town is this data center, the PPE, the raises, and the sheriff's department. This investigation that's going on. It's not giving out a lot of information about what's going on inside the sheriff's department. You know that shit was going on before the primaries. So was it Chris Clark was let go? I think. I'm pretty sure
I don't know if he's let go. I think if he may be suspended, he may be let go. I don't know. I hadn't heard.
Who's that?
Chris Clark, right?
Sergeant Carter.
Carter. Carter. My bad.
Carter, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything about
I don't
that
either.
part of it. I just I mean, you hear rumors and stuff, and I don't want to speculate on anything till anything comes out, because I don't, you just don't know who may be or may not be affected by it. So I know there were some things going around, and like I said, you just assuming makes an ass out of you and me, So
That's true. That's very true.
I kind of it's kind of like when something happens and everybody's like, "Oh," and then you sit back and you're like, "Oh, that ain't the way it happened."
So I didn't.
There's a lot of that.
I didn't get involved in any of it. I watched it all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Trump, Russiagate, and all that stuff. And you're sitting there thinking, until we know for sure.
Yeah.
And you've got all these people over here. Oh yeah, it happened. And then people like me sitting there like, man, it took 10 years, but guess what? They proved it didn't happen. So it's just, and it took 10 years because they wanted to take 10 years, and that's what they do. But once something happens, you seen how they manipulate something else into the news, and it takes over from that, because we went from the Parkway to the data center, and then it went to the raises, and then it went back to the data center. Now they're talking about the extension again, and then the IDB and all that. So, they always find a way to manipulate to take off of what's actually going on. So there's more going on than what we know. It's just not been reported yet,
Yeah. Which there again, it's that whole transparency thing.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is whatever's going on, at least come out and say, hey, they're looking into it. They've not found anything. And as soon as we do this, we'll give you more information. At least do a press conference, and then don't let everybody sit here and speculate, making up a bunch of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Say, hey, they were looking into, serving warrants or whatever, but they're still investigating. And as soon as we come to the end of this investigation, or if we have something in the preliminary, we'll let you know, and we'll go from there. Appreciate your time. Don't just leave everybody hanging. It's been, I guess a month 6 weeks maybe since this has all come out, and
Yeah, or
and so
what about the kid that died in the juvenile cell or the
well,
in
they've
that?
not said anything in that. That could be that. That could
Oh,
be
I
it. I
mean,
don't know. I said I hate to
so
speculate.
right. So I
It
mean,
could
yeah,
be
so
more than just that. It could be other things that happen related. Because I think that the nursing part of the Justice Center Sheriff's Office is like on a lease, if that makes sense.
yes, yep.
So it could be they're looking into that. I mean, who knows? Like I
Who
said, it's just
knows?
hard to speculate. But come out and give somebody an idea of what may be going on and say, hey, we're in the preliminary. They're looking into this.
Well, Alan, they don't come out with anything. When the Joseph Dalton thing came out, they didn't come out and talk about that. They just hoped like hell it was all going to go away and get brushed under the under the rug and that kind of thing. So the same thing with the kid that's died. They had their first the first week. I think it was the first couple days. It was a big thing and nothing since then. The whole whatever hell's going on inside the department now that they had to get TBI involved in because it's whatever according to Scrappy Dog, it's got something to do with Jason's hat. But anyway, it's just like these things should come out. You know what I mean? And
I'm just
you need
sharing awareness,
some
spreading
kind of
awareness.
spreading awareness, some kind of
I mean, like I said,
transparency.
that's gone on for a long time.
Yeah.
If if
Go ahead.
if they
I mean, I
wanted
just
what y'all are
go ahead.
saying they should do, they would do it if they felt like, or
They
if
were
they
in the,
thought we were important enough to know. That just tells you what we're thought of. You know what I mean?
Well, I can
Everybody
understand
should
that.
know.
Yeah.
yeah.
They
I
don't
mean,
want to know.
even people that work there, like, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's hush hush.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm
So,
sure. Yeah,
so I
Yeah,
mean,
but
and you're sitting there thinking, well, it, and there's some people out there that if they heard from somebody and they said something, they would call and say, hey, so and so told me this. Well, then they'd be looking for a job.
yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? So
It's what I was
I'd say
told.
right now there's a lot of people scared they're
Yep.
going to lose their job if they say anything or whatever. They just don't be tied up in it, and
Yeah.
I understand that completely.
I get it too, but it's exactly what I was told too. Yeah, tight lips,
Yeah,
otherwise sink ships.
yeah,
loose lips sink ships.
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot at stake if you do run your mouth.
Oh yeah, like I
So
said, I mean, you want to be that guy? I mean, like,
no, you don't want to be that guy.
that's why I say it's hard to speculate. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
mean, because there's so many things that went on that have gone on. You know what I'm saying? That
yes.
you could speculate on any of them and maybe be close to one or not.
Oh man. All right. We're gonna cut this because it's 10 to 11 anyway. We managed to make it the whole time. Jason, you missed the beginning. It
Sorry,
did no no no
my
no. You
computer.
you don't understand. It would not let me link to Facebook or YouTube. So for about 10 minutes, me and Alan were talking on Rumble, and then it popped up and said Rumble wasn't running live either. And I'm like, you gotta be crapping. So we played the intro and everything, talked for a few minutes, only to realize that none of this stuff did what it was supposed to, like it was supposed to. And then when we finally got it worked, I was just joking. Should we run the intro all over again? Because some people don't like watching 6 minutes worth of the intro all over again. But it doesn't bother me. But anyway, Alan, I appreciate it. Robert was really supposed to pipe in. It must have gotten bigger than what he wanted to what was going on. Crystal is very pregnant, so there's a possibility she may not be back on till after the baby's born or whatever. So it's up to her discretion because I'm
Yeah,
not carrying a kid in my stomach and or in that area and you know
and the womb, baby.
in the womb. Yeah, that's better than the stomach. And then also raising a bunch of little kids too. So it's got to be rough on her, but I appreciate you coming on. Always come on anytime. And then Jason,
Yeah.
when you came on with that hat, it just lit up everything after that. I think people were watching, but once they saw that hat, man, that was the end of that. So
I just want everybody to be aware.
Just want everybody to be aware.
The plus side is you didn't name anybody, so that's just it.
No,
That's cool. Yeah.
no, actually, my lawyer told me I could talk about it all I wanted to. I just couldn't name names.
That's right.
My lawyer told me, he said
Yeah,
he's
I
got.
done talked to him. I talked to him a long time ago.
Look at him. He's happy to tell you. I done talked to him a long
That's
time
right.
ago.
His name is Troy B. Jones.
Okay.
I
You know who I got on retainer this week?
Huh?
You know who I got on retainer this week?
Huh?
Turning Christmas. That's who I got on retainer.
Oh, I'm gonna play his video on the way out the door. He's got a 2-minute video about the order protections.
Yeah, I got him on retainer, man.
That's cool.
Is that the
Like
guy
what-
with the black beard?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Gonna
good.
say if you're gonna get in trouble, these are the counties you don't want to get in trouble in.
Yeah, Blount County was
Yeah,
top
the
of the
five,
damn
the
list.
five counties
Yeah.
he wouldn't want to live in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I
Blount
started
County
following him. Have you follow him?
Yeah,
Put something out every day, man.
every
And,
day.
I'm the one that put that on the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen that and I was like, he just said Blount County was the first one.
He met Alabama, Blount County, Alabama.
Is that what he?
Yeah.
It's funny 'cause
Yeah,
when we were doing,
he just lives next door.
we were doing Candid Conversations. I sent out a damn invite to a guy, and he was like, "I would love to come on, but this is Blount County, Alabama, not Blount County, Tennessee." And I was like, "Well, thank you. I appreciate for that. Yeah, we're not."
I'll tell you
interested
somebody
in-
you need to try and get Christmas on here.
I want to talk to him about the whole order protection thing. It ain't going to help me, but at least we can get the truth. That's what the 2-minute video is about. You know what I'm saying? Just the.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I watched it, and he's 100% right.
100% right, man. Yeah. 100% right. So, yeah, anytime we can help, just like I posted a thing about, Heath posted it first, but it's called The Great Reset. And it talks about, then somebody came on there talking about, well, this was 10 years old. And I tried to explain to them, there's a lot of people that don't know what that is today. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's good to
see, everything he talks about, I lived that through the sheriff's office in the city of Maryland, in Townsend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there thinking, man, you just hammed this guy up, and it's or this lady or whoever. And I tell you, on order protections, you wouldn't believe the people that want order protections that have kids, right? That when they find out they've got to put their kids on that order protection, and the dad can't or mom can't take care of them until they go to court, how fast they drop that.
Oh yeah.
I said that. I mean, I'm gonna have mom by myself. I ain't doing that. That ain't the way it happened.
Very true.
I've never seen, like, if you can keep that person away from them, but they still watch the kids, they would go for that all day long. But once they figure out that they got to put the kid on that order protection, and the mom or dad's going to have to be responsible for that kid until they go to court, or kids.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that. We're 50-50,
Yeah, 50-50 for sure.
Anyhow, I love y'all. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Anytime, always, Alan, for sure.
I made somebody mad tonight.
If we didn't make somebody mad, then we weren't doing our job.
And I wasn't even trying.
That's right. So, all right, brother. Hopefully we see you next Tuesday.
I love you, man. Appreciate it.
Love you too, guy. Bye.
See you, Herb.
See you, Herb. Jason with the hat, man. Appreciate that. You getting jumped in. I know your computer gave you a little bit of shit this morning or this afternoon, but
yeah, I had to do some kind of hard reset. I don't know.
It happens.
I mean,
man.
I just had I never could get anything but a black screen, so I had to Google it.
It happens. Google it. Well, you did good because now you're on here, and your hat made the day for a lot of people. So
yeah.
Hey,
man, we got to be careful out there.
Got to stick together. All right, brother. You have a good evening. I will see you soon.
You too. See you.
Bye. All right, guys. That's what I got. Let me see here. Let me pause this. Go play this 2-minute 9-second video on the way out. Y'all can see it for yourself. And have a good evening. Caught Up is on Thursday at 7:45. I haven't gotten in touch back with Pastor Bristol Smith, and we'll get him on the show. He just got extremely busy the other day when we had it scheduled. So, but we'll get him back on. Probably, maybe after the 4th of July, we'll bring up the whole drag thing again, get him on there and talk about that, and then some future guests in the future after the 4th, and an upcoming event that some may be interested, maybe not. But anyway, y'all have a good evening. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Jason. Crystal, hope you get to feeling better. Robert, hope you get to feeling better, man. See y'all soon. Bye.
Let me tell you some fucked up shit about our criminal justice system. I'm Attorney Christmas, Knoxville, Tennessee, criminal defense attorney. Here we go. I am absolutely disgusted where the state of Tennessee is at when it comes to order protections. You have judges that are just rubber stamping all these order protections with bullshit allegations, and it is completely fucking the lives of everyday, ordinary citizens that are law abiding. Do you know? Let me tell you something. Somebody can go down Monday and say that they are your roommate or have been your roommate or they were dating you and you said some mean things. You didn't hit them. You didn't threaten them. You just said some mean things to them. And they can get an OP against you. And they can put a bunch of other allegations in there that rises to the level of getting ex parte order protection. And guess what, Hoss? You are now dispossessed from owning pew-pews while the case is pending. And let's say that happens. Let's say someone says a bunch of shit that's not true. They get an ex parte order protection. You now cannot possess firearms. Guess what? You show up to court to defend yourself. They're not there. And you're like, good, this is going to get dismissed. And the judge says, ma'am, sir, the petitioner is not here. I'm going to dismiss this. And you go, oh, thank God. And you go away. Guess what? You can't get that expunged. You know why? Because there has to be a finding. So you have to have the knowledge to say, Judge, I just don't want you to dismiss it. I want to put on proof, and I want you to make a finding of fact dismissing it. Just dismissing it because they didn't show up is not good enough. So you have to be very careful. And so you don't know what the fuck you're doing because you're not a lawyer. So you hire a lawyer. Now you're out a bunch of money for bullshit. So next time someone tells you the state of Tennessee is pro Second Amendment, just know that they're either stupid or drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. I'm Attorney Christmas, Knoxville, Tennessee, Clinton, Tennessee. If you need me, call me.
Hey friends, I'm Monty Fritz for governor, and I'm committed to Christ and Constitution. Some of the liberal fake news.
Resolute Exposure is a social media platform. Almost all content on Resolute Exposure is created by citizen journalists. I share content created by citizen journalists who I believe to be the best at finding facts buried deep into the abyss, or outlets who I believe to be best for verifiable information. We have to operate within their system, and we only have the information that they allow us to have. These citizen journalists who nerd out on fact-finding missions and then add their opinion to better inform me to make the best choice for me in this war of narratives is Resolute. This information war is a battle for your mind and ultimately compliance. While mainstream media dismisses social platforms as mere echo chambers for fake news, independent spaces like this prove that shared content and live dialogue actually foster deeper critical thinking. So, I am excited to share the content in hopes you'll turn off mainstream media, who I believe is just a version of entertainment. So again, welcome to Resolute Exposure.